Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you this Wednesday. I'm going to start with another reading from Sarah Arthur's 1 Year Daily Grind. And we've been kind of on a theme about storytelling, and this continues with the importance of knowing your audience. John's best storytelling tactic, besides keeping it to the point, was that he knew his audience. He knew that people were desperate for the good news. He had to cut out what didn't belong, including details about Jesus' appearance, age, mannerisms, favorite foods. I'm sure many biblical scholars since then have wished he hadn't, but John knew his purpose. He wasn't writing for them. He was writing for the lost and the broken and the desperate. His intended readers needed the stories that would lead to their salvation, not to another PhD. If he dropped that focus, if he forgot his audience, then he could easily lead them astray into trivialities, where they'd lose interest or lose their trust in him and go off searching for some other story that would give them a straight answer. The same is true for us. Who are the people we sit down with at lunch every day? Who observes our words, mannerisms, facial expressions, habits at work or school? Who serves us coffee, scans our groceries, hauls our garbage? These people are our audience. They are the ones reading the books of our lives. We're not writing for other Christians. In fact, like Paul, at times we may not particularly care what other believers have to say about us. Instead, we're writing for the hurting, the lonely, the desperate, the bored. If we have any sense of them as real human beings, if we've actually looked them in the eyes and listened to what they have to say, then we begin to have a good handle on what aspect of the story they need to hear. We know our audience. Saints, you might know I've spent some time on the stage, and in doing that, I have gotten a good sense of how different audiences can be. And, sometimes the jokes that you tell will hit differently for a matinee audience versus a Friday night crowd. Sometimes, the difference between the audience has a lot to do with what show you're putting on. Different group of people will come to see The Wizard of Oz versus Hairspray, or versus Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will. You have to know who is out there in order to know what to emphasize in the story, what's going to get their attention, what are they going to respond to. It's the same way in our own lives. If, as we've talked in the last couple of weeks, our lives tell the story of who Jesus is, why he matters to us, there are people watching and learning from us, from our actions and our behaviors. It makes a difference if we know who they are. We can be much more effective in telling the story, in sharing what they need to hear, if we know this person is dealing with a big loss in their life, or that person has had a hard time finding work, or that person over there has really been hurt by the church and has a lot of skepticism towards all things religious. It makes a difference how we tell the story, not what the story is. The good news is always about Jesus and the hope and the resurrection and the life found in him. But we'll tell the story, we'll emphasize different things in different ways because we know who we're talking to. I mean, even when I speak, to a group of kids versus a group of youth versus a group of adults, my vocabulary changes. It's not always the same kinds of words that I use. It's the same thing in our lives. When we know who is watching us, paying attention to us, hearing the stories that we're telling, it makes a difference in what we portray. So, Saints, think about who are the people in your life who are learning from you who Jesus is. Is it your kids? Is it your grown siblings? Is it a relative? Is it a coworker? Who is it that is paying attention to you to learn more about Jesus? And what's really going on with them? What's happening in their lives? Maybe take some time this week to explore that some more, to ask questions and learn who these people are, so that you can better tell the story. That's your devotional for this week, Saints. Hope it's helpful and worth thinking about. I hope you're doing well and staying healthy, and I will be praying for you. Please keep praying for me. I'll see you all again soon. Take care, Saints.